So the temperance movement, which is this big social reform movement, and it was a progressive movement. This was all about reforming Americans, getting us to stop drinking alcohol entirely. But it started in the 1820s. The Americans at the time, especially American men, were drinking themselves to death. So it was a huge issue, mostly on whiskey, because whiskey was cheap and untaxed. And so the Northeastern churches, New England, New York, all got together and they formed this temperance movement. So predicated upon a valid social premises, which is we got to get Americans to stop drinking themselves to death. And initially it was about moderating alcohol consumption, but by the 1830s, more radicals had taken charge of the movement and decided that no one could safely drink any alcohol at all. And you get to the 1830s, this is the Second Great Awakening in the United States. This is when the Mormon Church is founded. The Methodist Church embraces temperance in 1832. So you've got all these Protestant churches all embracing temperance as this is the right thing to do to make Americans a better people. The Civil War kind of got in the way for a long time, but after the Civil War was over, once the question of slavery had been solved, after that, by the 1870s, the temperance forces really became a national force. And you fast forward all the way to World War I. This is the moment where the temperance forces were waiting for. They proposed the 18th Amendment. We had declared war on Germany on April 6th, 1917. The biggest ethnic group in the country at the time were German Americans, and they were also the brewers. So beer was the national beverage. It's been so. Beer has been the national beverage since the Civil War. And so all of a sudden the Anti-Saloon League, the main temperance lobbyist organization, starts spinning beer drinking into treason. So you're supporting the Kaiser's army, etc. So they used all this propaganda to convince the country that we needed to go dry to win World War I. So that was the big excuse. And the 18th Amendment sailed through Congress in 1917 and went on to the states. The majority of states ratified the amendment during the war itself. There's all this patriotic fervor. Yes, we got to win the war. Yes, we got to save grain to win the war. We got to beat the German army. Yes, vote dry. And so the final state that put it over the top here was on January 16th, 1919. This is 2 months after the armistice of World War I. And national prohibition goes into effect 1 year later. Everyone, of course, thinking that we've outlawed liquor, but we're going to still have beer, right? No. So that's one of the great surprises for the country. Everyone thought that they were simply going to still have beer available for them. But the Anti-Saloon League had a zero tolerance attitude towards any alcohol at all. So the country was in for a bit of a surprise come 1920.